Yo, what's going on, guys? And today, of course, I want to talk about Malaki Branham and his development and how it exemplifies the development of the San Antonio Spurs. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Before we start, what do you guys think of the Spurs? They're now 4-5 after being the Portland Trail Blazers. And hit that like and subscribe button if you guys want more content like this. Let's get right into today's video. As always, like I said, hit that like and subscribe button. Now, tonight, I thought we got to see a really good, game. I think the Spurs have done a great job of just developing their young guys and just how they're dealing with this season so far. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of Julian Champagnie, Harrison Barnes, Stephen Castle, Chris Paul, Malaki Branham, Keldon Johnson, and with obviously Victor Wembanyama. But this is a team that I think, especially with Mitch Johnson running the show right now as Greg Popovich is out indefinitely, we're seeing this really young team play well, together. Also, Blake Wesley's playing very well, and I like Zach Collins and Sandro coming off the bench as backup bigs. But let's just talk about. So the Spurs, who already are renowned for their commitment to developing young talent, have once again started to showcase their player development through Malaki Branham. I mean, after a season where they went 22-60, I think Branham's growth this season epitomizes the franchise focus on fostering resilience, team-oriented play, and individual skill development. As this year, Malaki is a guy that already is starting to take I know his stats might not look that much different than the year before, but if you really look at them, his efficiency and his usage rate, he's just a better player overall. And the Spurs team focus system, which under the direction of legendary coach Greg Popovich, with Mitch Johnson currently serving as interim head coach as we said, is out indefinitely, prioritizes a team-centric approach over individual glory. And in their recent 115-105 victory over the Portland Trail Blazers, the Spurs demonstrated that philosophy with a balanced attack that saw 8 players, including Branham, score double figures. And obviously, this collective effort allowed them to bounce back from that tough 27-point loss to the Houston Rockets, which shows their adaptability and their resilience from mental. And, we saw that the Spurs played sometimes so well that it seems scary at points when their teamwork is going, because this culture of sharing the ball, and this past game where they had a stunning 35 assists in this game, I think goes to show the team's ability to have a cohesive and supportive roster. And as I said, 10.2 points, about 3 rebounds, 2 assists shooting this season. 10 points, my apology, 2 rebounds, an assist a night while shooting 52.5% and on 6 field goal attempts a game, and 52% from 3 on 3 attempts a game for Mr. Malaki Branham. And again, 9 games, so take it with a grain of salt. The efficiency there will go down. But Malaki Branham's recent performance, and just performance this season, being hyper efficient. He's playing 16 minutes a night, career low, but having the best statistical year. And him and Keldon Johnson both led the team in points against Portland with 17, as he's a guy we already know who had the scoring versatility and ability to contribute consistently, as the Spurs really have done a great job improving Malaki Branham's shooting just consistency. Like, his 3-ball just looks a lot more encouraging. His shooting form has become more refined, what seems to be addressing the past issues of having a kind of flat release. And that development points to the work he's put in with the Spurs coach, who have emphasized skill building to their guys. And I think Malaki Branham's play, especially off the bench, shows that he could be this key contributor off the bench, providing a scoring option that's going to be essential for that bench unit. And the Spurs bench contributed to 61 points with Branham leading the charge. And his assertiveness when attacking the basket, using dribble penetrations to just go in there, and then as well as his improved defensive abilities, are showing that this team is nurturing their young players and having them have this well-rounded development. And this is coming from a guy, Malaki Branham. If you guys didn't know, he was always known as a high caliber scorer. He was Ohio's Mr. Basketball and was a top 50 player in the class of 2021. He emerged as a premier scorer for the Ohio State and was Big Ten freshman. Despite being considered a mid-range specialist with a developing 3-point shot, he still had a displayed advanced shot creation ability at Ohio State as a lead perimeter playmaker. And those scoring abilities are complemented with a good frame at 6'5", 6'6", with a 6'10" wingspan. He's a guy who's always played aggressive, played very hard. And one thing that's impressive is that this Spurs squad is just doing a good job of allowing him to take out the stuff that he isn't good at and focusing on more stuff like catch and shoots and just making sure that mechanic looks good. And the thing is, Branham's game is kind of marked by little tricks of the trade that I think a lot of really good scorers possess. Like he uses those shoulder bumps, hesitation dribbles, and he does a good job of those well-timed pull-up shots that he can create space when he needs. And his understanding of body positioning and the balance allows him to make difficult and contested shots. And I still think that shot making ability is something that's going to be needed. And his adjustment has been something that we were able to see as the Spurs already have had injuries hit this team hard with key players like Devin Vassell, Trey Jones, Jeremy Sohan sideline. And Bron and his teammates have stepped up and been able to be ready. And I think that shows the Spurs' ability to cultivate players who, handle adversity. And they had only won 4 games before December last year, and this is already an improvement, which just goes to show that this team is doing a very good job of investing in their young talent. Besides, Malaki Branham, you got rookie Stephen Castle and then second-year player Victor Wembanyama, who are on the team. And for Castle, he had 14 points against the Portland, as he's showing, their offensive traits. As Castle, somebody's his playmaking and maturity at his age is fantastic. And Wembanyama, who's already shown his defensive prowess, is probably going to be Defensive Player of the Year this year, is just leading the Spurs' structured, patient approach while they're unlocking the full potential of their team. And I think the fact that the skill enhancement of their players like Malaki Branham, the tactical acumen this team has, focusing on basketball IQ, just defines the way they're approaching player development. And the Spurs ran flex actions to create opportunities for the Wembanyama in the paint, which is a tactic that's frequently used last season by Greg Popovich to generate high quality shots. And this commitment to this type of tactical variation and trying to use these type of motions to create offense is their players understanding and recognizing defensive rotations and taking advantage of that by having good basketball IQ. So now you have guys like Malaki Branham and Castle joining Victor Wembanyama, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, as the Spurs continue to emphasize the fundamentals and the selflessness that this team has always been around. And with Malaki improving as a shooter, you have that playmaking from Chris Paul and Stephen Castle, while obviously the defense is anchored by Victor Wembanyama. I think the Spurs' philosophy of cultivating, versatile players, excelling in different game scenarios is evident right here. So with that being said, I think Malaki Branham is just showing the Spurs' commitment to player development. He's somebody that after the first 2 seasons, he might have been written off, but going into third year, his individual growth is leading to an emphasis in teamwork, and just the Spurs system is crafted to take young talent in and turn them into reliable contributors. So I think Branham's progress highlights this ethos, which exemplifies the franchise core values on and off the court. And as we continue to see the Spurs develop and Malaki Branham develop, along with all the other talented young players they have on this team, they're going to embody the future of the Spurs, which is a future built on disciplined, fundamental-based, team-oriented basketball that is obviously going to undoubtedly bring them closer to the success they want to see, which is winning another championship in San Antonio. So that was my rant, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy. What do you guys think? That's it. I think Malaki is awesome, and it's been a really fun year to start. And yeah, I've enjoyed it. I think it's one of those things when you sit down and you watch, it's like it's good. Bye. By the way, this is what the roster looks like. There's the injuries, and yeah, ciao.